a team that will be fighting, and they'll be at the top end of the leaderboard for the rest of the year.
And just to jump in here with
Savage, Mongol, Panzer, with that quick refresh they got, bumped themselves 240 above the Storm Surge threshold. Now they should start kind of looking around to find potential rotations to get to the zone here. But iDrop, after losing Scroll, is now left as a duo on a lower position where he can't really see his surroundings. He can't plan that rotate, and only being 73 above, they're just gonna have to Oni mask in.
Trying to play this end game, though. Another one of our top 3 teams in that 3rd spot specifically, but iDrop, Sky, the job's not finished. They've got to deal with a perfectly healthy Savage underneath, although iDrop trying to change that narrative as we speak. Going to be forced to crank up just a little bit, though. So much of his hard material having been committed this early is going to make it very difficult for him to continue moving deeper into the center of zone, but at this point, he's just trying to play next to Sky. He's just trying to create a brief moment of relief to gauge out whether or not it's even feasible for them to get across that hill, but he doesn't really have much time to think. He just needs to get the damage on now.
Yeah, good news is they have that water sprite that they can place while looking for tags. It looks like he might have gotten enough with that crack, but in the meantime, he got cracked as well, as now they have to play defensive, but 152 above. It's kind of still on the borderline in these levels of the game, as you can see, in just half a second drops instantly down to 49 below as they continue to look tags from afar, but I don't think it's enough yet to full on go into an engagement. The issue is iDrop has no more minis, no more bigs, no more water sprite, nothing to recuperate this potential storm surge. So as the clock starts ticking in Sky as well as Crack, they're gonna have to make a bigger play here soon.
They're just going to have to commit to the low ground. That's where we saw them have the most success in yesterday's matches. Even that's where their Victor Royale stemmed from initially. I'm not saying that this is a repeat opportunity here necessarily, but at least in the low ground, they can look to try and play backside, try and pick off somebody who's worse for wear than where they currently sit. Because right now, in the secondary height position, they're just drawing in the focus of teams that are already based up, already looking to try and ensure that nobody else has the opportunity to try and challenge them.
Storm closed now. It's starting to tick. Sky has just a few seconds left to his name, trying to make it count, as it's going to be all up to iDrop shortly here, as now with the siphon mats and 2 seconds left as well, iDrop needs a miracle to get out of this situation, as it looks like he is going to go down. Good effort. It was difficult to get out of. As we go back to Malibuca, Walks, and Ping, who are having a legendary match with the amount of loot eliminations and everything they've gotten to lead up to this end game.
That was a massive jumping overshot, but Mongrel Panzer, disaster has struck for this team. They looked like they were in a relatively good position on the low ground, but now fully chalked here as Panzer holding on to his last little bit of HP alongside Savage. They're trying to see if there's even a path forward at this stage, but everybody surrounding them just taking note of all these weakened trios, trying to take advantage of the fact as well. I think it at least looked for that revive onto Mongrel would be massive, but Panzer knows they've got to create space at least if they want that to come to fruition.
I mean, we talked about Merstash being the elimination leader. Panzer's #2 in damage from yesterday, but after he goes down with his 5 eliminations, it's all up to Mr. Savage trying to get ahead. A good amount of materials, but the issue is damage, shields. He's got the fishing rod. If he gets lucky enough here, if he pulls some shield fish, some floppers, anything to put him back into the game, it could be legendary with the shield fish getting picked up from the first fish, as now he's still 87 below though, Taco. I don't know if he could just fish this one out. I think he might have to just start looking for tags.
He's just fishing for placement at this point, hoping that the shield fish and the floppers can buy him enough time that somebody else gets eliminated in the process. A small fry even, just to give him an extra little touch of HP, but again, you're fishing inside of the first moving zone at this point, right? There's nothing left for him to do other than hope that more teams just continue to fall around him.
Will he be able to outlive Surge? Is this the ultimate strategy? Day 2.
Already tarping their way through the mid ground, and considering where the day started for them, Game 7, Veno, a menace with his Invis medallion, just making sure to tarp through all of the secondary height. It's only a matter of time before they look to challenge for ultimate high as well here, Takata, but they are clearing out the teams behind them, the teams that aren't so fortunate enough as far as their loot is concerned to be able to actually charge their way forward. And Veno, he's just ready to pounce.
You can see how effectively they're able to look for those tags, look for those refreshes when they're in desperate need. But Demus picks Darm, the trio in their first ever FNCS Major Finals, showing how aggressive, how confident they are still able to be, coming from yesterday on fire, as now Veno, Vico Flixzy are making the play for height.
And Veno's already taken it. The other team pushed down. He's going to give a little bit of backup here to Flixzy, who's caught up in a bit of a sticky situation, but it's no problem. He's got it all under his thumb. Hijo going to be the next victim here, potentially. He's just trying to stay safely concealed in that secondary height layer, but Veno, he knows there's a body behind him. He knocked it earlier. He's going to go claim the loot even, make sure he has as many mats as possible. In the low ground, though, Malabuka fighting for his life.
In the trenches, just 7 builds to work with, but he hits a huge pump. It's going to give him that siphon needed to last just a bit longer. The materials to tarp ahead as Demus, Pix, and Darm continue to claim their wrath on low as Rax gets taken out. All they have to do now is stay ahead, claim space, but the issue is Demus has no mats. He needs to find some for his IGL, for his tarper. He needs to hunt for some sort of refresh. All the good news is, though, they were able to make it ahead, but Malabuka is going to go down.
Ping, though, still lurking, but he's gonna get spotted out by Bolin. No chance to escape. Even Veno gonna cut him off the moment he tries to layer swap. And Veno now up down below. Veno knows that there's just one team looking to control the front side low, and it's Demus's.
Where did this change? Demus now put into pressure as his team goes down one by one. Pix is low on shield. Veno, though, in the blink of an eye, they had 2 eliminations, and all of a sudden, they're in double digits. Vico picks up another one, looking for the last one onto Demus as he has 4 splashes left, forced to go into zone here, tank a bit, look for a potential angle on his last opponent. Medallion's gonna be picked up. He can turn invisible now. It's a 1 versus 1. Demus looks for the angle, drops down low as Vico looking for any possible connection, gets back on high ground, but all it takes is 1 big shot.
The difference here is Vico, he's been an up-and-comer. He knows what it's like to be in Demus's position, spraying down below, just playing it safe. He still has 4 splashes to work with.
Vico is looking unstoppable.
And it's crazy to think, too, because the early to mid-game, it was definitely a little bit scrappy. We saw some circumstances where they were definitely looking to at least apply surge tag damage, but the way that they were able to seamlessly transition from mid to late game, the way that Veno just masterfully calculated the perfect time to take over height, it's just one of those circumstances where this team is just firing off on all cylinders.
Nobody does it like them on the high ground, able to secure so many eliminations, and not only that, keep them as Swizzy and Queasy. If they find out Vico's a solo, could be tragic, but so far the triple sprays are going to come through on the backside of zone. Merstash gonna pick up that eliminated player. Marius, Pixie, Vanya just doing what they can to stay ahead.
This is big, though. Looked like Chicho and Trulex definitely trying to get involved in the action underneath that bridge. Uppel as well. Gentry, Finchek, another one of our teams. Considered a bit of a dark horse, bit of an up-and-comer scenario. And they've had a pretty solid performance stemming out of day 1. They even moved themselves up a couple of places after match 7 on that leaderboard to be in the top 5. But Finchek, he's got to defend it now. Blaha, Mixon on the other end. But currently, the time is just not in Finchek's favor. He has to get into the box.
Yeah, it's looking like a fighting angle. You can't get tags when you're 308 before. You got to get on in here. Shotgun shots connected, even a pre-edit, anything to play aggressive onto Blaha and Mixon. But Cammy said he's taking shots from the side. The eyes are on them now. Finchek gets knocked down. Uppel, it's all up to him as the shots come through, but his teammate explodes right in front of him. Gets the refresh, 87 above. Floppers put to good use, but now they have to withstand as a duo with just a little bit of damage above the threshold.
He's at least still got Contry with him, though, so maybe they'll get a chance to kind of squirm their way through that low ground. Teeny Svi, though, they are feeling the pressure. Surge continuing to just tick away at their HP bars. Chino not gonna get the chance to TP away just yet. Teeny taking a good chunk of his HP with it, but Teeny's also cracked. Teeny's just so low. Team's bound to scat out the fact that this is a weakened player.
That's what he needed, though. He needed that damage. It's exactly what he got now. Just a bit of time to pop those big shields and regroup with his team. They're ahead of zone. This could be good. All they have to do is recuperate what they lost, but Haris doesn't have any heals. Teeny just had a couple bigs. I don't even know what Skavi has. This is looking worse and worse the more I inspect it, as Malabuka is going to be the trio on the other end of their builds. Here, I would just look back, see if they can get tags on the trios rotating in, as they still do need more damage.
They'll likely have to forfeit front side of that low ground. Healthier teams are going to have it in their sights. Venya, Pixie, Marius still dealing with the likes of Surge as well. 7 below. A singular shot is all that separates them from the ability to have time to think about where they want to trek next. They're still making it work, just 15 above now currently, but they need to TP ahead. Teams already establishing themselves on height are going to shut them down if they don't make it the front side soon.
Haris has lost his team, now left alone. Is going to recuperate what he can, but with the Oni mask coming through, 30 HP, it's going to be a difficult one to come out from. Malabuka, Ping, and Walks are going to get the triple Oni mask ahead of zone. Good job playing into the zone there. You tank a bit, but it's what it takes to get a front end position. Now it's all about claiming space, blocking off the others. And what a surprise! It's Queasy, it's Merstash, it's Swizzy once again claiming the high ground.
They would have liked a little bit more match though. These wood builds are bound to be chopped out by teams sitting in the mid-ground layers. They just trying to remain as hidden as possible. Doesn't want anyone to recognize him. Malabuka, big tag from behind. Not enough though to even draw his shields. Pixie now gonna keep trying to keep his intention towards height. Merstash even gonna play a little bit of disruption factor here, make them reconsider if they actually want to have those floors open above them. And Merstash tagging teams as they continue to try to move frontwards.
You called it out. It's a red flag. Only wood on the high ground. It's free pickings for the opposing trio, saying these guys must not have a lot of mats. We could maybe even contest it, and that's exactly what Mr. Savage, Mongrel, and Panzer had in mind. With 47 builds, a bit more hard mats, they might just be able to successfully overthrow this.
Savage won a game yesterday. Savage trying to win another one here today. Marius just trying to keep moving his way forward. He is so smothered with all these other teams. Pixie, though, what a massive shot. That refresh gonna buy him a little bit more time onto the likes of Chicho. But still, they have to tank a little bit of Storm here. They know they can't be the first ones in, but that pull back saving them.
Huge, as they now don't have to continue with the rotation. Just wait and go on backwards. Merstash, though, popping his minis to just recuperate that little bit of shield back, as now the aggression is going to go out to Marius. They connect one shot, not enough to get the knock, though. Good news is Merstash does have that medallion, but high ground, it's getting contested once again.
And Savage, he doesn't have the HP to continue the fight. He's been knocked. Pixovsky's team looking to clean up the pieces. And Savage knows he just lost Mongrel. He's going to be forced to drop here instead. Nom's going to catch him on that rotation out. Spotted the fact that it's a solo. Malabuka, Ping, and Walks, though, still a fully intact trio. Decent amount of mats, and they continue to control the low ground.
Look above, though. It's Cammy, it's Seti, it's Harry, all from yesterday getting annihilated to now the comeback in day 2. Everything's on the line for them after Merstash goes down. Noms, Gripey doing what they can to hold low, but there's still more players down below.
There's Malabuka, Ping, and Walks just on the other side of these walls. That was who their real contenders were going to be for this low ground all along. You can hear the feet stomping all around. Malabuka might have the angle, but Eclipse looking to get involved.
That's a solo looking in for a battle of 2 duos and a trio. Malabuka trying to find another angle to stay ahead. He needs to find an opening onto Eclipse here. They need to get him out of the match. The shots come through. Trying to play a bit defensive, but Walks is going to hit a massive one onto Noms, taking him out. Eclipse still is up. They're stuck in the dirt now. They have to find a way up, but on top of them, it's going to be Cammy, it's going to be Seti, it's going to be Harry just waiting for them.
This is huge, though. Malabuka, Walks, and Ping. They've still got to deal with the likes of Bolin dropping underneath. Hari gonna open things up here. Massive engage. This is so favorable. This is the massive game that we were expecting to see yesterday, and now Hari trying to bring it to life.
Got the water sprites, can play this one defensively. Malabuka looking like the last player left in zone. He hears the chug splashes coming through. Looking around, the shot gets connected, and just like that,
Have signs of life from our Polish team.
It's looking promising from getting annihilated off spawn yesterday to now changing things up a little bit. They're going out of their drop spot with not a lot of loot, but somehow, Taco, even though they don't have a lot of loot, don't have a good kind of start to their game, they're still able to close it out.
He's got the ultimate peekaboo in store for teams that sit directly underneath, but it's more so the fact that we are witnessing Queasy about to enter 8th zone here soon enough, Takata, and practically cap mats on everyone. And the number one thing that the analysts have already addressed even is if you give Queasy cap mats heading into your end game, everyone else in the lobby is about to have a real bad time with the way these guys look to control height.
And last time, nailed every single end game zone, all the moving zones. And looking at how this zone is pulling out, I mean, if it pulls to the west side here and closes towards
everything else that Marius is doing here now is just trying to extend their lifeline. They've got a little bit of low ground control here, but only 70 above means that they are fully aware of the fact that they're going to need to take on another fight. They're going to have to find some more damage. Flixzy, Veno, Vico. Veno likely just calling the shots at this point, trying to help his team make their way through, but Flixzy, smart enough IGL in his own right. He can definitely scout out where their shots should go next. Try and see if he can get some attempts onto iDrop's trio, but unfortunately nothing to build of steady use just yet. Everything just boiling down though to our team on height, Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstash. It comes as no surprise. That quick stat as well. Only team who have not been hit by Surge in our top 15 here. And for all these other teams that are struggling underneath them, they are just suffering immensely. Atris, we've seen him play from Tatter, sticks and stones all game long just about, but he'll be eliminated. Those guys on height, Pix, Demus, Darm though, they've definitely found what they were after as far as brawls are concerned, and they're gonna continue trying to just break their way through the mid ground, but they've got to be real careful. They got to make sure they're watching their backside. Pixie opening up the ceilings, triple spray, not going to be enough just yet though, but Marius, Vanya, Pixie, one net benefit is the fact that they are at least sitting just slightly above that surge damage threshold, and Flixzy now looking to take over.
Let's see if Flixzy's going to be able to make something happen here alongside Vico. They've been playing as a duo for this whole end game. Every single moving zone, they've lost their partner. But if they want to take home the prize, if they want to win Major 1 of the EU FNCS finals, they have to come out strong here and at least pick up a decent amount of points.
Ping Malibuca walks though. They don't mind playing from low. Although they definitely know they're going to have to do something about height eventually. Vico, Flixzy. They're also trying to ensure that teams moving further ahead, aren't going to have the opportunity to get the positioning that they want. Instead, they're going to look to TP in. Demus, Darm, Pix, still controlling the low ground though.
Issue is 118 below. They need to find something. Their full trio, incredibly healthy. They have everything in their favor to get those tags. All that they have to do is execute onto it. It's Pink on the receiving end, as now they're going to focus on the rotation. They need to make it to zone.
Pixie, Vanya. They recognize the fact that there's so many teams just up and over where they're currently situated. Monet, though, a solo potentially, and Pixie, he wants what Monet has to offer as far as Siphon Materials is concerned. Just another 4 points off the eliminations too, but Pixie can't manage to connect, and it'll be a drawback instead. Marius though, the surge just not gonna allow him the chance. He is down and out once you get ticked one time too many.
Yeah, you don't get knocked down, so it was a full elimination. The timing on that is absolutely tragic. But for Demas, Pix, and Darm, there's a bit of faith as Pix is just on a sliver of HP, but he's not been knocked down yet. Meanwhile, up in the clouds, contesters for high ground. We thought it was going to be Queasy. We thought it was going to be Merstash, Swizzy, but it looks like it's Panzer, Mongrel, and Savage that want to crush that dream. They want to take the high ground, but the issue is so much pressure, even from below. This is going to be a tough battle to overcome.
They're just going to immediately try and fly towards that front side. They know that it's going to be a matter of time before Swizzy, Merstash, Queasy look to challenge them. Flixzy and Vico still keeping this one alive, but the builds are running so incredibly thin. They're going from the backside of zone. They scouted out the TP though. Nathan getting lit up, but Flixzy not able to fall back and look to finish it off.
They're getting so much value though, playing as a duo from the start, and they're not even finished as Nathan gets knocked down. Another elimination for Flixzy and Vico as they continue to make their way towards zone. The Siphon keeping Flixzy alive barely as he makes it in with just 9 HP. How is he still up?
He knows that there's players directly behind him. He doesn't have a moment to stop and think. He's just got to keep barreling forward. Pixie, Vanya, a duo in their own right in the mid-ground layer. They can also see there's True Legs directly underneath them, but they don't have the chance just yet. Malabuka taken out. Merstash, Swizzy, and Queasy, they're the only ones controlling height, and they've taken out Flixzy with it.
All the top teams getting taken out one by one, and the leaders of the pack up in the clouds is Merstash, Queasy, and Swizzy. All they need to do now is close out this game, but Pixie, Vanya, with just 10 HP left, he goes down. Vanya left as a solo now. Pure chaos on the low ground. Trulex gets knocked down, but Vanya goes down, and Merstash, Queasy, and Swin closer to glory. And now with that victory royale launching themselves up to the leaderboard, we are going to have an incredibly close end to this EU Major Finals.
Respect the fact that Savage, Mongrel, and Panzer tried to strip height away from them, though. For a moment, it looked promising. You have to remember, Panzer, he got pretty fraggy yesterday. He was leading second in damage throughout the course of our Day 1 Major Finals, but here, Merstash, Swizzy, and Queasy, they were not going to let this opportunity slip by them. They knew that they had to close out after how promising everything looked on top of Shogun's Arena.
And not only did they close it out, but they...
Again, really steady, consistent throughout the course of Major 1 Finals so far. And Swizzy, Queasy, Merstash, they didn't get the immediate pull that they were hoping for here at Takata, but at the same time, they're definitely trying to clear out the team on elevation across from them. They want to take over that position. They're also making sure to keep their line of sight as clear as possible. That's why Swizzy shooting out the trees. They scouted. There is a surge base way off in the distance. And it might belong to Veno.
Veno, Vico Flixzy still leading the pack, but there's only a 20-point difference between first and third place. So although they're in first going into this match, everything can change depending on how this one concludes. Marius, Pixie, Vanya, 114 above. It's not safe enough as they're trying to just find any opening on trios rotating in. But so far, unable to find many connections.
Swizzy definitely doesn't want to have to deal with all this pressure. My man's just trying to make a humble fisherman life. Still looking to extend, but Malabuka from out of nowhere, completely doused. Now it's Walks and Ping.
As a duo, the second place trio put into panic as they've lost one. I mean, they're in zone here. We saw what Vico and Flixzy were able to do as a duo in the last match. They clutched it up. And it looks like we're going to need the same thing to happen from Walks and Ping if they want to maintain their spot on the leaderboard.
Shaco's just barely managing to survive for the time being, but Veno, Vico, Flixzy hot on their heels, looking to just chase them down, looking to also establish themselves with solid positioning. And Veno gonna safely tarp his way through. Shaco's body loot, wants to make sure that he claims as much of that as possible. He knows he's going to need that material for this endgame. Marius, on the other hand, he knows that they need damage. This trio has struggled today, Takata, with getting their surge online and well above that damage threshold.
Issue is for Vanya, Marius, Pixie, zone pulled to the literal opposite side of the map from when they were. So they're gonna have to be quick on their feet to get the rotate on in. Demas picks Darm in a similar situation, but Demas loses all of his shield during the rotate now. His teammates are gonna have to play the defensive to give them a bit of time to use any heal possible and continue once again with their rotate.
It's the fact that they were forced to ultimate low. They were forced to stop their rotation. They were trying to claim front side, if anything, and now it's not going to be a pipe dream just yet, but it's definitely going to be tough, difficult to re-establish. Vanya even getting a chance to look back, see Savage off in the distance. A little bit of elevation, and that's Vanya's intention as well. They're underneath that damage threshold now. They need to aggress heavily onto a team. They've got plenty directly underneath them, but all these trees as well blocking their line of sight.
Yeah, they just need a bit of damage. They're primed up in terms of positioning. If they can maintain that, it would be crucial for taking home this match, as so many of the top trios are still up in contention. But Vanya now, as Storm Surge is active, 124 below. They have to wait for the rotates to come through, and they cannot miss their shots here.
They're hoping that there's going to be teams looking to poke their heads forward, like to try and get ahead of where everybody else is at, not get stuck in that low to mid-ground congestion. But Vanya is not finding any sort of openings. Teams just taking too much notice of what's going on up above. And Marius instead watches, tries to provide some cover up, as now CZB, Nathan on the other side of height. They might be the openings, but it's still just barely above.
Demas, though, he's lost one of his teammates. Darm has gone down, leaving it up to him and Pix. The good news is they're together. The bad news, only wood left over, 18 builds, as they're forced to recuperate what they've lost. But Vico, Veno, and Flixzy, they're looking up above. They know high ground's a possibility. The Onimasks are going to come through. But so far, it was just to get ahead as they continue to keep their eyes and stay aware.
Veno still knows he wants to move ahead further. Pixie on the other side, gonna block him up for the time being. He needs to shoot them out first. Swizzy trying to help aid with that endeavor. Swizzy, Queasy, Merstash, though, they're on an opposite side because they don't want to let anybody else take height from them. Mongrel trying to see what he can do.
They are not done with the high ground retakes. Time and time and again, we see Panzer, we see Mongrel, Savage go. Will this be the match where they're able to fully secure it? Panzer leading the pack in terms of damage. They've not been missing their shots, but they haven't been able to close a game out on height as Mongrel's gone down. It leaves Mr. Savage and Panzer to clutch it as a duo, and they're forced now to drop down.
We can respect the dedication, but the intentions may have been sourly put. Vico, Flixzy, Veno, they're going to take advantage of the chaos up above. Back shot onto Queasy, and now Veno, Vico, but they're left in tatters. Something has gone horribly wrong. Veno's still trying to claim height.
What's happened? Vico was left on a sliver of HP, but he's able to recuperate it. Now as a duo, they can hold on to height. Panzer still looking strong as he takes down Tayson. They need to get ahead here, though, but there's just so many trios, so many players on low ground. It's absolute madness.
Somehow through all the chaos, Veno has managed to darp his way up above. Walks, Ping, they might have the heals advantage here, though. What they need is build. Merstash gonna fall. Walks getting credited for that. The Siphon playing such a big part in keeping his HP alive, but no! Tag from the side. Didn't get a chance to actually block his way off.
Ping left as a solo, doing what he can to scavenge the last points of the match, but Veno and Vico continuing to rain down from above, taking player after player out, tarping on ahead, but they are running low on mats. The issue is, I don't think there's any trios that can contest them yet for high ground.
The problem also, Rax just provided them more materials. Hari, Seti, Cammy, they're trying to strike yet again. Hari gonna be brought down though. Cammy, Seti still looking to try and see if there's a chance for that revive play, but immediately shut down. Veno just relentless with this onslaught.
They're hungry. It's time to get fraggy. Vico Veno know this. To close this out, they pick up Cammy. They pick up another elimination. Vico has 6. Looking unstoppable as now it's all up to Noah in the 1 versus 2 against absolute titans. Noah, you have to pull off a miracle to come out on top here, but it's going to be impossible. Vigorous going into these final matches of the day. If they get height one more time, if they're able to continue with this momentum, Taco, we can see them taking home that Axe of Champions.
Look, we knew Vico and Flixzy were fraggy after Chapter 5 last year, but what this screams to me more than anything distracting Takada is Veno telling everybody, I am back to claim the throne. People were questioning, is Veno actually still fraggy with it? And I think that these games are certainly telling us.
The good news for Malibuca, Ping, and Walks, though, is they have more than enough vision to tag every single trio that's going to try and rotate in here. As another healthy trio is going to be Mr. Savage, Panzer, Mongrel, but even though you're healthy, you might not be good on Surge, just 96 above. As now players are going to start looking more aggressively for tags. They could quickly get dropped below, as Savage knows this, and now he has to find some.
Not only that, but with the way that the zone is pulling up onto elevation like the mountain range, having only a Typhoon Blade, it's going to be very difficult terrain for Savage to actually charge his way upwards through. So he's going to have to be very cautious with how he proceeds once they actually leave their current base situation. And if Panzer and Mongrel can't provide those necessary cover fire, the rotations are only going to get more difficult, and Vico already experiencing the woes of that.
So many eyes are on Vico, not only getting cracked, just doing what he can to make his way back into zone. All the pressure is on his shoulders. 17 builds left. It's all wood. Even more of a reason for all the other players in the lobby to keep focusing you. They know you must be low on materials, as now just one build left in the dream. Vico Veno Flixzy gets shut down in the second to last match of the EU Major Finals, but Mr. Savage as well is put into panic. He's lost both his teammates, left as a solo once again. Our whole top 5 are getting eliminated.
This elevation range is no friend to any of our current teams trying to break through. Sky taken out. Malibuca walks and Ping on the other end of it. That's going to be Shogun's medallion potentially in their hands now. Whether or not they're able to clean up that trio successfully, they do have 3 eliminations in total, but Takada, this is massive. They might be able to have a breakthrough game here.
I want to know where Vanya is. I need to know how healthy they're looking, as Taste and Chicho Trulex are going to be the ones up above. But I believe the only trios in the top 5 is Malibuca's trio, is Vanya's trio, and they're looking quite healthy as well. It's all or nothing for this trio now to set themselves up for the last match.
Vanya knows it. He's spotted out the fact that Shark alone, but not going to be able to commit to it just yet. Don't want to leave their perch position. No real reason to either. They know ultimate height. Trulex, Taste, and Chicho watching their every move. They're just trying to punish those who are split from their teams. And sure enough, Malibuca Ping walks with the team wipe against Eyedrops. They do have that Shogun's medallion. They will be able to try and make good work of it. Also a healthy amount of material here from Malibuca, practically cap mats.
The difference between Malibuca's trio and Vanyak's trio going into this game was just 1 elimination, less than an elimination in terms of points, both neck to neck. As we look at Gripey, Rezoy, and Noms taking a good elevated position here. Edge of Storm now, as the zone even pulled towards them. Potential to try and take height here. Taste and Chicho Trulex, they've lost it as they're down below now.
Tayson, Trulex, and Chicho, though, this is a huge moment potentially for Trulex specifically. We're talking about somebody who had back-to-back 3rd place finishes at Global Championships, and now struggling to even carve his way into that top 5. Rezoy and Noms also trying to catapult themselves to frontside height, but Malibuca, he's found Nathan. He's got the knock. Should be able to collect the body loot as well, and just continuing to really just assert full dominance on this mid-ground layer.
Ravage every player in sight. They have more than enough materials, and the issue is Vanya, Pixie, Marius, they are incredibly low. It's only wood left over for Vanya. He's got 8 builds, and the other trio holding that top 5 is looking more than healthy. Vanya, Pixie, Marius, they need to find a solid refresh.
And Vanya, though, just trying to commit to an area where he'll be able to find somebody running underneath his builds, hopefully. But Malibuca, he's taking notice of height yet again, just barely managing to prevent themselves from getting chopped out entirely. Malibuca, though, he's not content to wait Marius as well, also looking to try and make that same tackle for height, looking to bring down our players, and Shark gonna be one of the first.
This could be it. Is that going to be enough of a refresh for them to get more ahead? As Gripey, Rezoy, and Noms are doing an amazing job of applying that pressure onto second height. They don't want to let Malabuka, Ping, or Walks retake it from them. They have enough mats to hold it as Malabuka, Walks, Ping forced onto the low ground now, getting incredibly low. Walks forced to use chug splashes as the zone is going to make its second to final pull here.
Thought for a moment that their intention would be to go for the high ground eventually. Instead, they're totally content to just control that front side low. Marius, on the other hand, still smothered. Vanya falls directly behind him. He has no other choice but to keep moving forward, trying to break through these builds without avoid Oni mats. He's only got the kinetic blade. He's just got to sit still and listen, wait for that opportunity to get an elimination.
Still so many placements to be made. Malabuka is cracked, trying to get back into zone. Dropped to just 29 HP. Gets knocked down onto his knees as it's all up to his duo now. Marius left alone as a solo gets absolutely beamed out of the sky. Ping, Walks now playing it as a duo.
And Ping and Walks as well from the low ground. They're fully aware of the fact that they don't have a real way to try and challenge for height, so to say. Right now, they're even focused on just trying to stay alive in general. Ping does have that Shogun's medallion. All he has to do is sprint. He's running around, trying to get as much momentum as possible, hoping that nobody scouts him out just yet. Gonna even drop that medallion the moment that he realizes he couldn't hold on to it any longer. Walks, though, won't be able to pick up anything after the fact.
Got the medallion, but got it eliminated shortly after as Gripey, Rezoy, Noms want to close this one out. There is a full trio. It's Tayson down below that want to put a stop to the high ground chaos, but Rezoy isn't going to let that one slide as he drops down, and he's looking to get fraggy.
Catry as well, directly underneath where Chicho currently sits. But Gripe, Rezoy, Noms, with this control of height, Takata, they've got the real star-studded seat to close this one out.
I see Nako down below, though. This is a match that means everything to them. They haven't been able to make it too far in these end games, but as they try and climb the mountain, Gripey putting an end to it. Rezoy, Noms, just one more shot connected, and they close it fully. It bumps them up enough spots, but I'm also thinking in the back of my head, you know, the last trios that were up in the top 5, we got Vanya's trio, Malabuka's trio. They were 3-point difference getting into this match. How much is that going to change now that both of them made it to the end game after the other top 5 trios had gone down? There's so many questions I have.
Malabuka did take the early spill. He's still back in the running here. His team a little bit hurt after losing Walks, but it's not an easy situation here. Vico knows exactly what he's dealing with. He doesn't want to risk this first place position. It is all down to as many points as possible.
A 47-point difference between first place and second place. Vico Veno Flixzy being in that first place spot. If they get eliminated right now, that will be all that Malabuka, Walks, and Ping need to take that #1 spot from them. Everything is on the line for Vico.
Problem is, he has literally nothing here, Takata. There's no way that he's going to be able to finish with where this zone is pulling to. He's got to just hope that nobody even scouts out the fact he only has 2 builds left over. Walks, Ping, Malabuka, they lose him one more time, but Walks and Ping, they've been here before, but Walks wasn't expected to go down with them. Ping left as a solo now, just trying to separate from the rest of his team, but CZA chasing him out.
This is tragic. Ping now not only has to clutch it out as a solo, but even if Vico ends up going down, which he did, now he has to get more than 40 points just by himself in this late game. If this happens, we might be witnessing one of the greatest solo clutches in Fortnite history.
The fact that he was able to shut down CZB, though, on that chase attempt is huge. He's at least managed to create a little bit of box space for himself. He might even be able to get a big tag onto somebody that's rotating a little bit later as well. He's gonna at least make sure to go acquire some of that body loot. But interesting that he's opting to hold on to the Fury as opposed to the Hollow. He probably just wants to, he knows he needs to just be as aggressive as possible. The higher firepower is just gonna bode better for him later on.
47 points, Taco. 47 points is what Ping has to clutch up as a solo right now. as he could get some potential mats here from Shakeoff. It's still 8th zone. So many more placements to be made. So many more potential eliminations to get. The issue is, I don't think he has any spare shields. He really needs to find a refresh to recuperate some of those shields. But with the triple spray coming through, dropped down to 41 HP and no way to recuperate it. There's no way, right?
He can't even think about it. He's got exclusively wood builds at this point. He's just trying to make as much box space as possible, but everybody's noticing the fact that these are all wood builds. They're trying to take out this solo.
There's no way, right?
Desperate attempts. Desperate times call for desperate measures after all. The reboot ban is an unrealistic opportunity here, though, Takada. He just doesn't have enough material to prevent himself from getting lobbied in the process.
Yeah, even so, his teammates would get annihilated out of the sky the second they go on in. But in the meantime, the kings of height, Merstash, Swizzy, Queasy, Merstash looking to keep history, taking home all the Major 1 finals on EU. He was able to do it in the past 2 years. Can he do it once again? If they want to make that comeback, they need not only a victory royale, but they need to get double-digit eliminations, high double-digit eliminations to secure that as Ping continues with his solo clutch.
They also need Ping to just be eliminated already. What's this guy got? He has zero business still staying alive. First moving zone, just trying to break through these pre-existing builds. Hope nobody notices him. Pickaxing from behind, hoping to just gather whatever goods he might. And as he continues to break through these builds on the low ground, Takada, it is a miracle that he hasn't been spotted yet, because he is one bump shot away from being eliminated.
The other thing to keep in mind is that even if he's not able to take that first place spot, if he can at least hold on to second, it might be enough to solidify themselves a spot in the global championship. But Ping goes down. If Merstash, Queasy, and Swizzy are able to win this game, it could at least put them in second place spot to qualify them to the global championship. But if they're able to get enough eliminations, it might just be possible to take that first place spot.
They've already started the process as well. 2 eliminations on Swizzy, but Merstash, he's just got to get up close and personal. He's got to start building up these elims. He's been building so many up to this stage. Kide, gonna be another one claimed here. That's 4 more on the board potentially if he can finish them off, and there is such a mess taking place in this secondary height. Swizzy also getting involved.
They have to play aggressive, and they know this. That's why Merstash, Swizzy are going straight down, looking for these eliminations. They not only want to secure that spot at the Global Championship, they want that Blade of Champions. They want to take it all the way home as they continue to maintain high ground. But you got to be careful. Pink wants it.
Pink wants to just chop them out, if anything, the way that the zone is pulling over the hill. But Queasy, he's going to find himself in the victim seat. He's been knocked. Swizzy, Merstash, they're going to have to run this one as a duo, because it's going to be Nevs and Pink taking over height. Merstash forced to drop. Merstash, though, pushing Pink back, but he gets eaten alive in the process.
His teammate Swizzy, he's got his back, but for how long? The whole trio goes down. Is it going to be enough to overthrow second place, as Demas, Pix, and Darm might have something to say about it?
Demas, Pix, and Darm, they've quietly been a part of the conversation, but the last couple of lobbies have not been in their favor. Darm, though, with no material, just trying to run around, but he can't buy enough time. Demas still left over, scattering, trying to see if he can pick up any goods that might have been left over from other bodies. Big shots to connect, but he's just causing disaster for other teams that are fully intact. He won't be able to push through.
Tayson, Chicho doing what they can. They weren't able to close out these end games. They were so good at getting to them. But Tayson, are you kidding me? Showing why he's known as one of the greatest Fortnite players of all time. Trying to get out from the low ground, forced in zone, as now he has a small fry. He has an Oni mask. The retake to high ground. It's going to come through. Can he stay up?
It's just a blind teleport to the front side, though, and Nebs all too quick to try and pick him off for it. Cade, Cringe, Mappy underneath. Chino, Nebs, they've got to try and close this one out, but Cade, he's actually going to fall. Chino might actually do it.
Pink, Nebs, Chino, they close it out.
Been forgiving. A huge moment, though, for Chino, Pink, and Nebs. The fact that they are able to find their one throughout the course of this weekend, this is what they needed, because they ended yesterday in that 25th place. Heading into today, it was not looking the best, but they've at least entered their name into the prize pool.
Secured a little.
They had so many problems thrown their way, and I think they just overcame it so well over the course of these 12 games, and long may that continue now, sort of extrapolating that across the whole year, because that's exactly what this trio are going to be about. They're going to have these issues, they might have problems that they might need to overcome, but they've proved this weekend that they are a team that will be fighting, and they'll be at the top end of the leaderboard for the rest of the year.
And just to jump in here with this trio, I think what's really exciting for me is that it's not flawless yet. They haven't brought every single factor of this trio together to really secure those victory royales, to really secure the